Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast, episode 12. And tonight's episode is going to be just really one subject because it is so new. It is so fresh. It hasn't happened in 53 years. My New York Knicks are the 2026 NBA champions of the world. I mean, just it's hard to even believe still. I watched it with my own eyes. Excuse me. I watched it with my own eyes, not just last night, but every step of the way. And it's still this today. I mean, I'm recording this podcast Sunday night and it still doesn't feel real. It's an amazing feeling though, as far as, watching your team win an NBA championship. And I'll get into everything about that. But it feels like a dream still. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and we're gonna be playing Game 6 Tuesday night because we didn't win Saturday, and the Knicks are gonna collapse and they're gonna lose in 7. It's all the things that would have happened in the past or have happened in the past are just wiped away now. It's different. The franchise is different. This team is different. These players are different. The fans are different now. Being a Knicks fan is different. Now I'm very lucky. I've gotten to see my Yankees win 5 championships. I've seen the Yankees win 5 championships. I've seen the Giants win 4 Super Bowls. So 4 championships from them. I was alive when the Islanders won, but the last time they won, I was 4 years old. I don't remember it. I wasn't a hockey fan back then, so I can't claim those. And this is the first time I've seen the Knicks win an NBA championship. I've talked about it on here before that my cousin Joe is the main reason I am a Knicks fan. And the fact that I could celebrate this today and last night is because of him. Growing up, I was primarily a baseball and football fan. My dad is a Knicks fan, but he stopped really following the team in the late '70s when his Knicks that won 2 championships. Those players retired and went and elsewhere. So I never really watched the Knicks in the house. I knew about the team, of course. You know about the New York teams. And around the age of 12 and 13, I started hanging out with my cousin Joe a lot, going over to his house. He's 3 years older than me to the day. That's right, we are cousins born on the same day. And he is a huge Knicks fan. And back then, I don't think there was a bigger Knicks fan. And one day he just said, "Hey, you want to watch the Knicks?" And I was like, okay. And that team, how could you not fall in love with that team? With Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, John Starks, Anthony Mason, real glue guys, guys that would go through the fire. There was Charles Smith, Derek Harper, Doc Rivers, Anthony Bonner. You had a real good group of guys. They were hard nosed, they were tough, they were fun to watch, they kicked ass, and I was instantly a Knicks fan. And I learned, pretty soon after that, that heartbreak comes with that. This team getting beat by Jordan in the playoffs each year. I thought the best team they had in that 90s run was the 93 team. And they just fell short. They came up against a Bulls team that, was world beaters. If they could just win one more game, and get over the hump. And then in 94, they made it to the NBA Finals. Jordan had left to play baseball. The NBA was wide open. Who was going to take that chip? And all eyes were on the Knicks. And they got past Indiana. They got past Chicago. Well, first, got past Chicago in 7, mind. They took them to 7. Got past Indiana in the Eastern Conference Final in 7 games. And that wasn't an easy series. They lost Game 5 at the Garden. They had to go to Indiana and win Game 6. And then come back to the Garden and win Game 7. They did, and they went to the finals. And another 7-game series against the Houston Rockets, who they ultimately fell to in 7 games. The Rockets won the title that year. Actually, the Rockets won the title the next 2 years. But in 94, I look back at that series, and the Knicks should have won in 5. 100%. They shouldn't have lost Game 4 at the Garden. They should have come back. They came back with a split. The next 3 games should have been theirs. They should have been NBA champs in 5. But they dropped Game 4. They won Game 5. Went back to Houston with a 3-2 lead. Had to win 1 out of 2. Lost a close game in Game 6. And then Game 7, John Starks was 2 for 18 in Game 7. Pat Riley stuck with his guy. You put in Rolando Blackman, your NBA champions. But it didn't happen. In 95, the Knicks lost to the Indiana Pacers in the second round in 7 games. The heartbreak started with Game 1 when Reggie scored like 100 points in 6 seconds. And they lost that series ultimately in 7 games. I see it now. Patrick Ewing's finger roll that did not go in. And then year after year, it was something else. Pat Riley leaving the Knicks. Don Nelson didn't work out. They got Jeff Van Gundy. They revamped the team with Chris Childs, Larry Johnson, Allen Houston, and they made a run. And standing in the way this time was the Miami Heat. They got into a fight with the Heat where most of the players got suspended. They lost like the first round in 5, 97. That was a team that I think could have won the whole thing. I ultimately think that. I don't care how good that Bulls team was. That Knicks team, I think, could have done it. And get to 99 where they make it to the finals. Patrick Ewing's hurt. They come up against a Spurs team that has Tim Duncan and David Robinson. They lose in 5. I didn't expect them to win that series. And how poetic it was, the Spurs, right? So then the 2000s go on. They never come back to any kind of glory. The Marbury years were fun. The Isaiah Thomas years with the Pits. Then they kind of showed some life in the early 2010s. They signed Amari Stoudemire. And, that first year with Stoudemire, the first half of the year was amazing. They were playing great basketball with Raymond Felton. As the point guard, they needed a point guard. They had a point guard, Raymond Felton. He was him and Sotomayor were on fire. Gallinari. I mean, this team was fun to watch. And then Carmelo Anthony, told the Nuggets that he was not going to re-sign with them. He wanted, and they were going to trade him. And the Knicks got caught out on the bluff that he was going to go to the Nets. And the Knicks traded away like half their team. Wilson Chandler, Felton, Gallinari, all these guys that were contributing for Carmelo Anthony. And the next year they went and got Chandler. He was one of the best defensive players in the NBA from the Mavericks. And they were good. I mean, they won 50 games one year. They went to the second round. But Stoudemire started getting hurt. The Jeremy Lin project didn't work. And, the Knicks just couldn't get past the first round. And listen, I know a lot of people like Carmelo Anthony. I'll just say he's a fantastic basketball player. Hall of Famer. But as a team player, as a guy that you'd want to win a championship with, he is not the guy. I was never a Carmelo Anthony fan. So the team goes into obscurity again with culminating in 2019, 17 wins. And everybody's hoping they get the first round pick. They don't. They get third. They get R.J. Barrett, who is a good player, decent player, but that's important because that's who they ultimately traded for OG Anunoby. So the wheels were in motion then. And in like 2021, they make the playoffs again. Julius Randle is now the superstar of the team. And listen, I want to give credit where credit's due. Tom Thibodeau, Julius Randle, you guys were you were the two that really helped turn this franchise around and started making it more respectable. Thank you. And we get Jalen Brunson. And this championship is the biggest FU. And I love it because I like these kind of things. I like, proving people wrong and sticking it up their Koma Sugiyama. Everybody now who is praising Jalen Brunson in the media, Stephen A. Smith, all those guys did not want him. They were like, we got Jalen Brunson. He's not a number one. He's not this. Can't believe the Knicks went all in on Jalen Brunson. Yeah, we did. Thank God. Because that man delivered us an NBA championship and was MVP of the NBA Finals. And we went through the heartbreak of, losing in the first round, not making the playoffs, then second round, losing in the Eastern Conference Finals, but we came back with a vengeance this year. And listen, I'll be the first one. They fired Thibodeau. I was upset because I felt this team was building. And they were playing great defense. But I see now what the team was missing. And it was the use of the bench and the rotation because the Knicks are one of the deepest teams in the NBA. Thibodeau did not use the bench. And Mike Brown was that fresh voice, that fresh, ideas and rotations, and they figured it out, and they got themselves a championship. So I will be the first one to say I was wrong. I didn't want Mike Brown as coach, but I'm damn happy today he is. That man delivered us a championship. And I'll tell you one thing about Jalen Brunson. Last night I'm watching the game, and my cousin said, he goes, he's going to have to win it himself. The team was not playing well. They weren't shooting well. And Jalen Brunson put that team on his back and helped deliver a championship. And I'll tell you why this was also special. And I'm talking about my cousin Joe. He moved to Florida in 97. I don't get to see him that much. Maybe once a year. If that, sometimes it goes longer time goes by. So we had a family party scheduled for Saturday. My cousin's daughter graduated nursing school. Congratulations, Haley. Very proud of you. You're gonna do awesome. And you don't think about it when the invitation goes out because you're not looking at the NBA final schedule. So Joey called me the week before, and we were talking on the phone. And I was like, "You realize the next time I see you next week, the Knicks will be NBA champs?" And he goes, "What are you gonna do if the games are going?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've been watching every game at Matador. You know, that's where I've been watching, and I gotta see what I'm gonna do if I have to leave or something." And this Knicks lost game 3, so the winless streak was the win streak was over at 13. I felt I could, this is a superstition going on. I felt like I could watch it somewhere else, and I thought it was fate that Saturday night I was gonna get a chance to watch the Knicks win the NBA championship with my cousin Joe, who 30 plus years ago made me a Knicks fan. And I watched so many games with him, so many countless games, so many happy memories watching that team. And I tell you, it was awesome. There was no place I'd rather be than with my cousin Joe watching that because we just the history with watching the Knicks together. And it's funny, talk about living in the moment, cameras, phones down. I wasn't using my phone. I had my phone out because during the game, we were using a speaker for volume that the battery ran out. So my cousin Joe went to go fix the TV and some reason couldn't get the channel back. So I took my phone out and I mirrored the feed to the TV. So I just put it down, didn't touch it because I didn't want to mess with it. So I didn't get any of this recorded. I didn't get us like, celebrating this and that. I just have the memory, which is a throwback to the 90s. We talked about it last week, right? A simpler time. And last night when the clock ticked down, the first, me and Joe, we hugged, and it was the dream come true. The Knicks are the NBA champions. It's crazy. I still am saying it, but I can't believe it. It doesn't seem real. Like someone's gonna take it away because we waited so long. Because now what? It's an absolutely amazing feeling. It really is. The Knicks are NBA champions. It's an absolutely amazing feeling. you know, it's funny. People are already saying like, "Oh, if they don't win next year, they're just a one of." I'm not even thinking about that nonsense. You can't take this away from their NBA champions. They'll be champions forever. There'll be a banner in Madison Square Garden that has 25, 26 Knicks NBA champions for eternity. That's it. And to all the true Knicks fans out there, the guys that stuck with this team through thick and thin, I'll give a shout out to my boy RJ, who is one of the biggest Knicks fans I've ever met. This is amazing. We deserve it. And of course, you see all the bandwagon Nick fans, and it does bother me still. And I don't, it shouldn't bother me, right? The Knicks one, but it bothers me that people are using this for clickbait. I've never seen them post about let alone basketball and the Knicks, and now they're using it for clickbait, trying to get people to repost it. Come on, you don't care about this team. You're not going to watch next year. You're not going to watch a single regular season game next year. Maybe you watch the playoffs. If they go on a run, you'll jump up on the bandwagon again. But you're not going to be watching games in October, November against against Washington. You have no stake in that. We will. Us Knicks fans will. And like that whole thing just for clickbait anyway. I have an issue with that in general with this regular social media. But using the Knicks as clickbait, it's weak. If you're a fan, you're a fan. If you're not, you're not. You know, social media is not that big a deal where you have to pretend to be a fan because the real ones see you. I actually called somebody out when they posted last night because they posted something stupid. I called them out on it. They deleted it, I think, so I didn't see it again. I don't know. It's petty, right? But it's not because it's annoying. It's like like I said, it bothered me with the Yankees. It bothered me with the Giants. It bothers me now with the Knicks, the fake Knicks fans. And I have people that go, "Well, I'm a New York fan. I'm a New York fan, so it's for New York." No, it's not. It's for Knicks fans. They happen to play in New York. If you're a New York fan and you root for New York teams, why don't you root for the Jets? I don't see you back in the Jets. I don't see you back in the Mets. These people are, I'm a New Yorker. From New York, so I'm a New Yorker. So I root for New York teams. No, that's not how it works. You're a Knicks fan or you're not. This championship is not for all of New York. It's for Knicks fans. It's for Knicks fans. I'm sorry. And if you weren't, if you're not a fan and you're just jumping on a bandwagon, I mean, enjoy it, yeah. But, it doesn't mean anything to you. You can buy the shirt, you can buy the hat, you can buy everything you want, but you're not a Knicks fan. Because let's just say in a couple of years, 5, 6 years down the road, when Brunson's gone, all these guys are gone, you're going to be gone. You're not going to be posting Knicks content for clicks. You'll be on to something else. But we'll be there. We'll be watching the Knicks. We'll be rooting for that team. Like I said again, I know it shouldn't bother me, but it does. Because I don't like fake. I don't like fake ass people. I really don't. I don't like fakeness. And there's a lot on social media because we're projecting something. But you're not, people are like, oh, I'm a New Yorker. Look at me. Oh, hey, I'm New York. Good Knicks. Gabagool. I don't think so. I rep my teams very hard. Yankees, Islanders, Knicks, Giants, Miami Hurricanes, college football. Those are my teams. Die hard. I don't like bandwagon jumpers. I don't. It's like the kids that were Bulls fans when I was in elementary school and high school, or people that became Cowboy fans, and then all of a sudden LeBron fans because they have to, LeBron. I just don't like bandwagon fans. I don't like it. Patriot fans that Brady was around. Warrior fans when they were winning their championships. I don't like it. What I do like is that the Knicks are the NBA champions. And that's my go-to of the week. That's really it. I'm sorry if this podcast is dragged on and I've been talking about one subject, but that's all that's on my mind. It really is. I was up past 3 in the morning watching highlights and clips, and all day today, it's all I was watching. It's amazing. It really is. I love this team. I Jalen Brunson. I can't put him on a big enough pedestal. They better erect a statue of him outside of Madison Square Garden. But this team is not, and that's the thing. You look at the Spurs and the Knicks, and on paper, the Spurs are a better team. They got amazing players. And listen, I'm not taking anything away from the Spurs. They're going to get their championships. This team is too young, too good. If they stay healthy and together, they could put a dynasty together. Things have to change. They'll have to learn how to win and close out teams. And maybe they did in this series, but, I think this team has got a great future. I think the Knicks can run it back and get a run at another title, 100%. And the Spurs team is, they had a lot of great players. Wemby, though, what a fucking puss bag. I didn't know much about Wemby before this series. He is a dirty, dirty player. What a fucking dirty motherfucker he is. He tried to take out Anunoby. He tried to take out Brunson. You look at the plays. He's just a dirty fucking player. And the NBA for some reason wants to strap a rocket to his ass and make him the face of the NBA. You know what? It's not a player. It's a team. It's the Knicks. The Knicks are what every team should strive to be, because on paper, the Spurs are a better team. We don't play on paper. Play on a court. And that's where things like, the intangibles come into play. And some people hate that expression in sports, the intangibles, but it's a big thing. Derek Jeter had intangibles to win. Jalen Brunson's is kind of the same cloth. He's the Derek Jeter of basketball. People doubt him. Overrated, this and that, but New York fans see it. He's our MVP. We chant MVP every game for him. He is that good. And he proved it. Put the team on his back. 45 points in the deciding game. Absolutely amazing performance. And an incredible moment, after they won. He's there with his father, who's a coach on the Knicks. They're hugging. Let me tell you something. Last night, I came home and I cried a bunch watching highlights. And today, I cried a bunch watching highlights. And I might cry a little more before I go to bed. It's an amazing feeling. It's an absolutely amazing feeling to have your team win a championship. Especially one that you've waited so long for this. And I texted actually my brother's friend. He posted like at his house where my brother was actually. And you see all the kids like celebrating. And I'm like, those little fuckers, they have no idea. They're so lucky they get this. They're 11, 12, and they get this. This is like, would have been like me at 12, 13, seeing a championship. We waited all these years, but it is sweet though. It is so sweet. Now I'm going to be 47 in August. This was absolutely amazing. This is what you dream of. Oh, man. And I hope it's not 53 years for the next one. I really don't. Oh, my God. What a feeling. The Knicks are the NBA champions. And I'm sorry that this whole podcast was about this. I really am. But this is the only thing that's on my mind. I promise next week we'll have a regular episode. And I want to thank everybody who listened. If you stayed with it and you listened to my ramblings, my Michigas, thank you so much. The podcast is always available on all podcast platforms to go to podcasts, also on the YouTube. Find it on I talk to my mother, the YouTube. Go to the YouTube. We are available on YouTube at the Go To Pod YouTube channel. That's where you'll see the video. Like, subscribe, 5-star rate and review. I have a link for Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate all the support that people have given. All the money goes back into the podcast, keeping the lights on, so to speak. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining me here for episode 12. Have an amazing week. The Knicks are NBA champions. I'll talk to you later.